Bible, drinking my coffee, eating my yogurt. And I was flipping through my Bible this morning, seeing where God wanted me to come from. And he brought me to the first book of Chronicles. And I immediately took a deep sigh of just not wanting to be here, because if anyone knows about the Chronicles, the book of Chronicles, Numbers, Leviticus, it's just listing things. It's not actually outright being entertaining to, what we're trying to read. But as I was reading the Chronicles and opening myself up to the Spirit and wanting to see what this could possibly do for somebody, what could reading about the Chronicles of all of these people that are long gone do for anyone. The Spirit started talking to me and started to show me that some of these lifelines, some of these familial things that these guys came from and what they went to, we need to be able to be willing to open ourselves up to the chronicles of who came before us, so that we know what we need to face and break off now. Let's just reference the family of Ishmael. So for those of you who don't know, Ishmael is the illegitimate son of Abraham, who he had with his slave Hagar, or I guess it was Sarah's slave Hagar. And Ishmael was conceived because Abraham and Sarah weren't patient enough to wait for God's plan to happen, and because of that, this happened. Not saying Ishmael was a mistake. I'm saying mistakes were made which led to his birth. From Ishmael, there is a lot of discussion about who his people were, but because of how they speak of him, they talk about Ishmael as if he was a vegetarian. So the theory is that Ishmael became the founding father, so to speak, of those Eastern Asian civilizations that focus on vegetarianism, like India, Pakistan, Iran, Iraq, like those places. And those places are also, the birthplace, if you will, of a lot of religions that speak against the things that, God is to who I am and to who he is to the world, which has caused a good deal of confusion. So to go back and look at the book of Chronicles, we're able to go back and see these things and understand where these people went and what they came from. And then we can also either take from them the knowledge of what they accomplished, via the goodness of God, or we can take from that the understanding of what to deter from as we continue forward and develop our own generations. My generational line is not based on my father's generational line. I might carry the same name. My children will carry the same name, the Klinger name, but who my dad was is not who I am. I'm not going to take the mistakes of my father with me, as I hope that he didn't take the mistakes of his father with him. And I'm hoping that my children learn from me and don't take my mistakes with them. Instead, I have shifted my perspective. I honor my father. I love my father. I pray for my father every single day. But my eyes are on God. And that's where I want my perspective to be. That's what I want my generational perspective to be as well. So I want my sons to learn from me on this earth. Fantastic. But I want them to be able to look into the Word and into the realms of heaven and learn from God just as much, if not more so, than they will ever know from me. So as I went down through these chronicles, it's just crazy, it's a book that's often overlooked. It's definitely never preached out of, aside from like the stories of Nimrod, I think is in here somewhere. But I encourage you, look back, go back down your family line, your genealogy, and see, where is the disconnect? Where is the reconnect? Where is a way that you can reconnect where there was a disconnection? We as children need to take the time to establish who we are and not just be carbon copies of who made us. Because ultimately the father and mother came together and we were born, but we were destined to live this life because of God. He knew us before we were born. We were shaped in iniquity. We were born into the sin of man and woman, but God had a calling on us before we were ever even born. So I'm encouraging you today, and as we move forward into this new week, that you take the time to figure out where you want your chronicle to go. What do you want your chronicle to say? What do you want your kids' chronicles to be like? Because it starts with us. I don't care who you are. I don't care what happened in your past. I don't care how good or bad your parents were. They should not determine your future. You should determine your future. God, in your relationship with God, should determine your future. So take the time today to pray to God, to search out His Word, and to really think about, where do I want the chronicles of my family to be? What do I want them to lead to? Where do I want them to go? What would they say if they wrote them down in a book and they said, this is the chronicles of the family of your name? What would that chronicle look like? And if it's not something you don't like, then maybe it's time to start changing the words that are going to be put down for who you are. And I encourage you to seek that change in God, in the Word. But I'm going to get ready for work. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Love you all.